Okay, when the Gemara Sanhedrin pay test Amid Beis in the Schottenstein Gemara 89b toward the end of the page. And the regular Gemaras, it's like midway down the page, a little bit above midway, where it says, Vehi Yachad Dvarim Ha'ela. Okay, the last thing that the Gemara is going, the Gemara is discussing before it, that even though a Navi sometimes goes against what the Torah tells you to do, but if he's an established Navi, like Eliyahu and Avram Avinu, to kill her son, so then you have to listen. So now the Gemara is going into the story with the Akedah a little bit. And the Gemara says like this, says in the Pasuk, Vahi Yachad Dvarim Ha'ela. Okay, it's like a little bit above midway down the page. It was after these words. V'olikim nisas Avram, Hashem tested Avram. So the Gemara's question is, what does it mean after these things? After what things? Dvarim Ha'ela means after these words or these things. What words or what things are we talking about? So Amar Rabbi Yechon Mishum Rabbi Yosef ben Zimra. Rabbi Yechon said, name Rabbi Yosef ben Zimra, Achad Dvarim Shel Satan. It was after the words of the Satan who tried to criticize Avram Avinu. What was the story? The Pasuk says before, Vayigdal Yalad V'Yigamal. Yitzchak, right, he grew up and he weaned him. And Avram made a party, and the day he either, some people say it was B'yam Higamal as Yitzchak, some people say it was the day of his bris, or when he was 2 years old and stopped nursing, or bar mitzvah, different opinions. Amar Satan l'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Satan said before Hashem, Ribono shel Olam, Zaken zeh, Chananta l'mea shana pri batan. This old man, when he was 100 years old, you finally gave him a child. He said, Mikol Suda Sha'asa, from the whole party that he made, what did he give you? L'hayalei said, Echad gezel, Echad lakad v'necha. He only has one bird or one young dove to give a korban. I mean, come on, look. You finally gave him a baby after 100. This is how he thanks you, one little tiny bird. Amalei, so Hashem said, Klum asa el b'shvil b'nai. Hashem said to the Satan, why did he do this party? For his son. Imani aimerlei zvachas bincha lefanai. If I would tell Avram Avinu, Shecht, your son, he would do it right away. So the Satan started complaining, what's the greatness of Avram Avinu bringing you one bird? So Hashem said no. He did it for his son, yeah? If I would tell him to bring his son, he would do it without any question. So miyad, so what happens right afterwards? V'alakim nisas Avram, Hashem tested Avram Avinu. And what does he say? Amar v'yayim, and he said, Kachnu as bincha, please take your son. Yeah? Amar of Shem v'rabba, ein no elo loshem bakosha. Hashem didn't say kach es bincha. Kach no means I beg you, please do it. Please take your son. Ein no elo loshem bakosha. Moshe lemelech bas v'dam. It's an analogy of kids, of a king. Sha'am dal milchames harbe. He had a lot of wars. V'haya legiber echa v'nitzchan. And there was one strong guy that won the battle. The Yamim Amdav Muhammad Chazaka. And the next day he had a very strong, powerful battle. Amalei, so he turns to the warrior and he says, the minyan is 9 o'clock, by the way.
Sorry?
9 o'clock is the minyan.
9 o'clock?
Yeah.
Not 8 o'clock?
No, 7 and 9.
Oh,
Okay. Morning. Liyam Muhammad Hazaki had a very strong war. Amalei says, I am asking you, please stand firmly in this war. Meaning like this, the king's fighting a war. He has a strong warrior. But now all of a sudden he gets a difficult war, so he says to him, do me a favor, please stand for this war, that people shouldn't say the earlier wars were nothing. So Hashem said to Avram Avinu, I tested you 9 tests, yeah? And you passed all of them. Ashav, I'm begging you, Amerli b'nisoyin zeh. Stand up for this nisoyin, sh'layemer imamish b'rishenim. That they shouldn't say the first 9 were nothing. So there's a very interesting sikha from the Rebbe about this. I mean, because the 9 tests were nothing. But only the 10th test is something. It's a very funny expression of Gemara. Hashem says to Avram, you better pass this test because otherwise they'll say the first 9 were nothing. Why? Thrown into a fire, his wife, all the 10 tests the 9 tests were pretty strong. So the Rebbe explains like this, that the Avram Avinu had a mission. And a mission to spread godliness in the world. All the first 9 tests had to do with publicizing godliness in the world. Being mefarsim elukus. He says, that was all Avram Avinu's nature. Chesed. Now, Hashem says like this, now I'm asking you to do an act of gevura. I'm asking you to do an act of gevura to kill your son, to shecht him. Yeah? So he says, now I'll see that you're doing it not because it's your nature, you're doing even something against your nature, and you're doing it because Hashem said so. And that's what he told him, Kachno. Okay, then Hashem said like this, Kachno is bincha, take your son. Amalei, it's Hashem, Avram said to Hashem, Shnei banim yashli. I have 2 kids. What do you mean take my son? He said, Es yichidcha, your only son. So Avram answered, Zeh yochid le'imei, v'zeh yochid le'imei. This is his only son from this mother, and this is the only son from this mother. So he says, Asher ahavta, take the one you love. So he says, Tavayu rachmul, I love both sons. So finally Hashem said, Es Yitzchak. So in other words, Hashem led it up. He said, Kachno is bincha. Take your son. He said, I have 2 sons. He says, Yichidcha, your only son. He says, each one's an only son for their mother. So he says, Asher ahavta, that you love. He said, I love both. So finally he said, Es Yitzchak.
Why not get to the point?
So the Kol Kachlama, the Gemara says, why didn't you just take Yitzchak? Kadei shalei tetariv daiti olav. That Hashem, Abraham Avinu, shouldn't all of a sudden get shocked. Yeah. Over there it also says a little bit different, to give him more schar. That Hashem should speak to him more often. But you see the wide lines. I'm sorry. You see the very wide lines.
Yeah.
2 lines before that.
Okay.
Pay attention. 2 lines before the very wide lines. So basically, the Gemara is discussing that case. He says to him, take your son, your only son, Yitzchak. Why? So here the Gemara is saying that he shouldn't go crazy, right? If Hashem said take Yitzchak, he's going to freak out. So Hashem was leading up to it. Bincha, Yechidcha, Sharafta, so on. Then he said, Kid Musatan Laderech. So now the Satan came to stop Avram Avinu from doing the Akedah. Amalei, so the Satan says to Avram, Hanisa David Elecha Tila. He'll test you with something that's going to leave you the debilitated, meaning, in a Yasar to Rabbin. Behold, you have chided many. V'yadayim office and your hands are weak. To Chazik Kaishav Kimul Fanecha. Your words would raise him who had stumbled, meaning what he said to him, now comes upon you, become weary, you can become disrupted. He said basically, what did he tell him? He said to him, what are you doing this for? You're going to become laughing stock of everybody. You're going to become worthless. Amalei, so he said, in other words, like this, the Satan says to Avram Avinu, logically it doesn't make sense what you're doing. So Avram said to him, Ani betumi elech, I'm going with perfect faith. I'm going with tmimis, tamim tiyam Hashem alakach. I'm going with straight faith. Amalei, he says, Ala yirascha kislasecha, is not your reverence then your foolishness? He said, hey, come on, this is foolishness, what you're doing. Okay? In other words, 1 second. The Satan said to Avram Avinu like this, your whole mission in life is to bring people closer to Hashem. People are going to think you went crazy, taking your only son and killing him. they're not gonna. They're gonna make problems for you. We're like, well, what are you doing? You're gonna kill your whole mission. Like you said before, you're gonna become debilitated. You're not doing what your mission is. You're ruining it. Amalei, so he says like this. Let's see who is innocent was ever lost. Meaning, what did Avraham Avinu tell the Satan? Never before that somebody who listened to Hashem got messed up. You're telling me I'm going to get messed up by listening to Hashem and bringing my son as a korban, and I'm telling you that nobody ever got messed up listening to Hashem. So he says, Amalei, what?
He knew this is Satan, or
he knew it was the Satan. No, he knew it was the Satan.
So how could Satan have any hopes that Hashem himself talked to him, told him to do something, and now Satan is going to...
That's his mission, no?
No, I'm just saying...
Let's not get personal.
Hashem personally...
Let's not get personal. Does a person ever do a sin?
But if God...
One minute. Hashem tells every Jew personally in Torah what to do.
But this is person, Hashem spoke.
Hashem speaks to every single Jew. Hashem speaks to every single Jew. And why do we... It's the Ruach Shtus.
I'm just saying...
Satan changes the whole course of events here.
Yeah.
It causes Sarah Imenu to pass on.
He didn't change it. Hashem changed it. He's not talking about Sarah yet.
Yeah, but Abraham Avinu does such a test. After coming through such a test, he comes back, his wife is passed on.
No.
Satan came and told Sarah Imenu what's going on.
First of all, the Gemara over here is not discussing this. Okay? The Gemara is saying the Satan dealt only with Avram. And then he says to him, Amalei, so the Satan said to Avram, Eli Davi Yugunav. I heard something, a secret. I heard from behind the curtain. He says, you know what I heard? That the Seh is going to be the Elah, not Yitzchak. So you're doing this whole thing for nothing. I already heard that Yitzchak is not going to get killed, and you're just going to be... Amalei, Kach El Shei Shabadai. This is the punishment of a liar. Shafilu Amar Emes Ein Shemulei. The punishment of a liar is a person is a known liar. Even when he says something true, nobody listens to him. So he says, "You're a liar. I don't believe you."
So Abraham Avinu knew that Yitzchak is not going to be...
Now he was told.
But he didn't believe it.
That's what he said. But I don't believe you. You're a liar. So I'm going to do what I got to do. So that's one opinion. Okay, one opinion, what Rabbi Yochanan said, in the name of Rabbi Yosef ben Zimra, what does it mean? Achar advarim ha'ela. After which words? He said the words of the Satan trying to stop Avraham Avinu from doing the Akedah. Rabbi Levi Amar, Rabbi Levi says, no, it's a different thing. Achar advarim shal Yishmael Yitzchak. After what words? Not the words of the Satan to Avram, the words of Yishmael to Yitzchak. Amala Yishmael Yitzchak. Yishmael said to Yitzchak, Ani gadol mimcha b'mitzvah. I'm greater than you. Why am I greater than you? Atamalta ben shmeinis yamim. You had a bris when you were only 8 days old. You didn't know what you were doing. Vani ben shleishes rishana. I was circumcised at 13. Come on. You didn't know. They didn't ask your opinion. And I agreed to do a bris. I'm greater than you, Yishmael said to Yitzchak. Amalei, so Yitzchak said, you're making fun of me with one limb of your body. If Hashem would tell me to sacrifice my whole body, I would do it. So he says, you're priding yourself with one limb that you had a bris. I'm telling you, if Hashem told me to kill him, to bring myself up as a korban, he would do it. Right away, Valakim Nisas Avram. Valakim Nisas Avram. After Yishmael was making fun of Yitzchak, so Hashem Taka listened to Yitzchak, he said, okay, bring yourself up as a korban.
Based on this, it wasn't such a shock to Yitzchak that Hashem was actually doing it.
It wasn't a shock to Yitzchak. But that's why it's called Akedas Yitzchak, is whose test?
Avraham Avinu is surprised.
Why isn't it? No, the Mefarshim ask. L'cha'ira,
It was a bigger shock to
whose test is this?
Abraham.
It's Avram. Look him, says Avram. Yeah? Okay. Yitzchak wasn't a little boy. He was 37 years old. Yeah? Yitzchak said, when he asked Avram, who's the korban, he said, you, basically. I asked Elo Elo, right? He said, basically, you. And Yitzchak, V'el Cheshem Yachtov. So who's getting killed? Avram or Yitzchak? Look, Yitzchak's getting killed. So why is it called Yitzchak's? Why isn't it Yitzchak's test? Why is it Avram's test?
Where does it say exactly this Yitzchak?
Huh?
It's something that the Chazal gave you, no?
Vayakir is Yitzchak b'nei.
No, but where does it say that that's Yitzchak?
I'm just telling you, where's the term Vayak? From Vayakir is Yitzchak b'nei. He tied him.
Abraham is surprised when he sees the set.
And Ochanami, because he didn't trust the Satan. Now he says, oh.
But here he has the.
But 1 minute, why isn't this Yitzchak's test? Why is it Avram's test?
Opposite.
So the Mefarshim answer, many answers, but one answer very simply is, it's easier to live as a Jew than to die as a Jew. Meaning like this. Yitzchak, one time deal, he's dead. He's gone.
It's harder.
Avram Avinu has to live with it.
I mean, it's harder.
For Avram. No, Avram Avinu has to live with this idea that he killed his son.
So it's harder to live like a Jew than a die.
That's what he said. It's harder to live like a Jew than to die as a Jew. You die like a Jew, you're done. One time deal and you're gone. You're done. Avram Avinu had to live with it. Okay, now the Gemara is going, but there was like a parenthesis in this whole Gemara. Now the Gemara is going back to the story about false prophets. Tell Rabbanan learned like this. Navi Shediach, a Navi who gets other people to go worship idols, gets skila, gets stoned. That's the punishment for a Navi that got Jews to go worship idols. Reb Shimon Eimer b'chenek. Reb Shimon says, you don't get skila, he gets chenek, strangulation. Madiche ir anidachas. What happens, the guys that caused, the city of Ir Anidachas to sin in idol worshipping, so they get skila. Reb Shimon Eimer b'chenek. Reb Shimon says he gets strangulation. So the Gemara says, we just got to saying, Navi shediach b'skila. A Navi that gets Jews to worship idols gets stoned. So the Gemara says, my time of the Rabbanan, where did the Chachamim learn out that it doesn't say in the Chumash he gets skila? How did the Chachamim know that he gets skila? Where did they learn it out from? So he says, Asya docha mimeis. It says Gzeir Shava. It says subverting, meaning they caused you to sin by maces, by an instigator, and here it says hadocha. Malahalan, just like by instigator, over there the Torah clearly says you get skila. The same thing with a prophet, he also gets skila. Reb Shimon, 4 lines to me under the page of Pei Testament base. Reb Shimon, Misa, Ksiva Bay. Okay, so now the question is, why does Reb Shimon say chenek? Right, the Chachamim learn it out from a pasuk hadocha, agzeir shava. Just like by a private instigator you get skila, so a Navi that gets Jews to want to worship idols also gets skila. Why does Reb Shimon say chenek? So he says very simple. The Torah says over there Misa, right? The expression he gets killed. V'chol Misa amor v'Torah stam, and anytime the Torah says stam, the word Misa, and alachanik. So therefore, Reb Shimon says a Navi that convinces others to go worship idols is the Chacham holds skila, and Reb Shimon says no. It says the word Misa. Misa is chanik. By the way, in today's Rambam of 3 Prakim, it's interesting. It says the Rambam makes a cheshbon how many skilas, sreifa, herring, and chanik. Everybody together, there's only 36 sins that Bezdin kills you. Huh?
What do you mean by that?
All the types of
misa, skila, sreifa, hereg, and chanek.
Yeah.
How many people get one of those 4 punishments?
How many people?
How many sins?
How many sins? Oh.
36 altogether.
all the types of incest and
No, that's kares, most of them. Saying, the Avedas, they get all the capital punishments. The Rambam makes a cheshbon. This is 8, and this is 2, and this is whatever the cheshbon is. Okay, then it says the next argument. Madiche ir anidachas beskila. And Chachamim said that again, the guys that convinced the ir anidachas to do Avodah Zarah gets stoning. My time with Rabbanan. Again, why do Chachamim say skila? Because really the question is, if it says Misa, Misa is supposed to be Chenek. Why do they say skila? So he says, Gomer adoch adoch, or mimesis, or minavi sheidiach. He says, like, look, they learn again Gzeira Shava, hadocha hadocha, yeah, which means like this: either they learn it out from Mesis, they get skila, or minavi sheidiach, or a navi that convinced others to do worship Avodah Zarah. In those cases, it's skila. So therefore, the madiche ira nidachas is the same punishment of Gzeira Shava that he gets skila. Rabbi Shimon says no. You know why you get chenek? Because Gomer adoch adoch minavi. Just like Rabbi Shimon holds a navi that got people to worship idols. The punishment is chenek because the Torah says misa, and misa is chenek. So he says you learn out Gzeira Shava the same way. Madiche ira nidachas from a navi, and over there he gets chenek, so here also gets chenek. So Gemara says v'ligmer memesis. Okay. But there's 2 psukim you could learn it out from. Mesis, you get skila, or madiche, or navi sheket that you get chenek. The same hadoch, the same Gzeira Shava. Why does he learn it out? Why does he learn it out from whatchamacallit? From a navi that you get chenek. Why does he learn it out from an instigator that you get skila? So the guy says like this: Don in mesis rabim, in mesis rabim. Because there's a private instigator and a public instigator. So you learn out a public instigator from a public instigator, not a public from a private. So Gemara says, Adarab, on the contrary, doning headed mehedit, you should learn out a regular person from a regular person and not a regular person from a navi. In other words, like this. He says, Madicha irin didachas, which is plural, taka, but he says, you learn it out from the Navi. Navi gets chenek, so this also gets chenek. So Gemara says, 1 minute. Why are you learning out a regular Jew from a Navi? It's better to learn out a single Jew from a public Jew, from public Jews, than from a regular Jew from a Navi. So Gemara says, Rab Shimon, Kivin Shehidiach. Yeah? A Navi, Rabbi Shimon says, what was the Gemara's question? Learn out a regular Jew from a Navi that caused people to worship idols. Yeah? So Gemara says, a Navi that caused people to worship idols is like a regular person. He's not a Navi. So why, I'm not learning out Hedgit from Navi. This guy that caused people to sin is not a Navi anymore. So he's a regular Hedgit. So I'd rather learn it out, Rabbim from Rabbim, rather than Rabbim from single. Okay, now the Gemara says, Amar Rav Chisda. Okay, next.
One question about Mesis.
What?
Mesis is any regular person
that causes other people to worship Avodah Zarah.
Even one person?
Yeah.
Or
no,
the whole the community?
No. There's a private Mesis and public Mesis.
Okay, so, and he's this Mesis guy, he has to be a Navi or anyone that...
No, anyone.
If I go and incite someone else to sin, I'm a Mesis.
Yeah. Now, you could be a Mesis for Avodah Zarah, you could be a Mesis for Chilul Shabbos, you could be a Mesis for eating treif.
For not doing the bris milah?
That's positive mitzvahs. Mesis is usually the concept of getting somebody through a negative commandment.
And this definition goes back on the Jew. So if a goy tries to incite a Jew to do an Avodah, that tells he's also Mesis?
He's a Mesis, but again, because Bezin has the power to kill him or not. Yeah, he's a Mesis. A Mesis, by definition, is anybody that gets some other person to do. Usually, the expression usually represents Avodah Zarah. Mesis and Mediach. But it can technically be any Avodah. If a guy gets other people to be Machal Shabbos or T-Tray for whatever it is, that's a maces. In that respect.
So it could be a goy also.
Yeah. But here we're talking about Eden, I mean.
And all these dinim that we say apply to these Avedas that the Basin should do to these people, goes on a goy also? If
No.
a goy that does these Avedas...
No, a guy has his Sheva Mitzvahs that he gets killed for, that's it.
So if
A guy has Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Neach.
So if a goy comes and does, all these things that we say a Jew is Chayv Misa for, based in
In this week's parsha,
and we have to make some Mikdash, and we could do capital punishment.
it's only
We don't do it for a goy.
for a guy when he transgresses the Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Neach. In this week's parsha, Balak, yeah. The guy from God, they send Balak sends these guys to Bilam. It says, "Come curse the Jews." Yeah. He said, "Lo yochel laver es pi Hashem." I cannot go against Hashem. Yeah. I can't go against the will of Hashem. Yet the Gemara earlier in Sanhedrin said that when Bilam was on the way with his donkey, the famous donkey, he had relations with his donkey.
That's also
Bo'al Hasaynei, which is one is Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Neach. A guy is also obligated in a few adultery things, but one of them is homosexual and one is animal, yeah? So here comes Bilam, the great tzaddik, and he says, "Lo yochel laver es pi Hashem." I can't go against the will of Hashem. And then here he's Bo'al Hasaynei. What was it supposed to mean? So this is a question asked to the Rebbe, by the way, and one of my Batzi Legani, my mother. So the Rebbe answered a very simple answer. In Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach, a guy has free choice. In order to punish somebody for any Aveda, you need Bechira. Right? If I don't have free choice, then why are you rewarded a punishment? Rewarded punishment is either I got rewarded because I didn't have to do the mitzvah and I did it, I chose to do the mitzvah, or I chose to do the Aveda. Something you have no free choice in, you can't be punished. You're programmed. So you can't have free choice. So therefore, the Rambam and they all say that a guy in Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach has free choice. Because otherwise you couldn't punish a guy for transgressing Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach. Right?
But
in things that are not Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach, things that's not Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach, a guy has no bechira. Because he's not obligated in it. If he's not obligated in it, he has no free choice. Memela, when Bilam says, "Lo yochel laver es pi Hashem," that was about cursing the Jew. It's not forbidden for a guy to curse a Jew.
So he had no free choice.
So he had no free choice. So he says, I can't go against the will of Hashem. Yeah? When he had Baal, but the Bo'al Hasaynei, the relation with his donkey, that he had free choice. So that he was able to sin. And he took a sin.
And that goes by Jews also. They have free choice in the 613 commandments.
A Jew has free choice in 613. A guy has Bechira only in Sheva Mitzvahs b'nei Noach. But by the way, not 7, it's like 30 something, whatever. Okay. Amir Rav Chisda said, next page. Machlekes, this machlekes between Rab Shimon and the Chachamim about a Navi that gets Jews to worship idol, whether the punishment is skila or chenek. He says that's only ba'eker aguf d'avedas kochavim. When he says, he comes along and he says, he uproots the whole concept of Avodah Zarah. V'kiyam mitzvahs u'bitul mitzvahs Avodas kochavim, or when he says to keep part of Avodah Zarah and not part of Avodah Zarah. Drachmona amar min haderech, because the Torah says if he's going to sway you min haderech, meaning from part of the way. Afilu mixes derech. Okay? So he says like this. When is this Navi, the machlekes with a Navi that's Mesis Umadiach, whether he gets Chenek or Skila, it's only by Avodah Zarah, if he uproots all of Avodah Zarah, or he uproots part of Avodah Zarah. Avol Eikedash Guf the Shar mitzvahs, but if he uproots all the other mitzvahs, Divrei Hakol Chenek. Everybody says he gets Chenek. And what happens if Kiyam mitzvahs ubitul mitzvah shar mitzvahs? Divrei hakol potter. Interesting. This is what Rav Chisda says. Rav Chisda says like this. When is this machlokes, whether a Navi that gets Jews to sin gets skil or chenek? That's only by Avodah Zarah. Whether he uproots all of Avodah Zarah or he uproots part of Avodah Zarah. But all the other mitzvahs, everybody says the following. If he uproots the entire mitzvah, like he says there's no Shabbos, then everybody says the punishment is chenek. He says there's no Shabbos. He takes away the whole mitzvah. But what happens, he says, mitzvah, yeah, mitzvah's part, yeah, part, no. He says, okay, from the Lamed Tes Melachos, you got to keep 20, not 30, not whatever. So then everybody says he's potter. This is what Rav Chisda holds.
So he has to say that all the mitzvahs are Shabbos are
Right. Because this, that the Torah, by Avodah Zarah, it says, min haderech. By Avodah Zarah, it's even part of the way, from the way. But by all the other mitzvahs, it only speaks about uprooting a mitzvah. So it has to uproot the mitzvah completely. This is what Rav Chisda said. Moshe Rav Hamnuna asked the question to Rav Chisda. It says in the Torah, Lo leches zu mitzvah sasei. Lo leches, when he says, the Navi spoke against Lo leches, acharei elokim achem, to go after other gods. So he says, Lo leches represents mitzvah sasei. Ba is loisase. Okay? So he says like this, positive and negative. If you're telling me this pasuk only refers to Avodah Zarah, where do you find the positive mitzvah by Avodah Zarah? If you look, all the Avodah Zarah mitzvahs, they're all negative commandments. Don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Where do you find the positive mitzvah by Avodah Zarah? And the fact that Rav Hamnuna quotes a brayso that said by Avodah Zarah, that it's a positive mitzvah, a negative mitzvah, where do you find the positive by Avodah Zarah? So he answers, yeah, Tegema Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda will answer very simply. There's a mitzvah when he touched them to break their idols. The Gemara asks, where do you find a positive mitzvah by Avodah Zarah? So the Gemara says, you know where you find it? There's a mitzvah in the Torah to break the idols. So what happens if the Navi says, don't break the idols? He's transgressing a positive mitzvah. And that's what the Torah, the brayso said. Lo leches is positive mitzvahs, ba is negative mitzvahs. So therefore, the brayso is speaking about Avodah Zarah. The pasuk is speaking about Avodah Zarah. And therefore, by Avodah Zarah, Rav Chisda said, if the Navi comes to uproot all of Avodah Zarah, or only a part of Avodah Zarah, that's the machlokes Rab Shimon the Chacham, if you get skil or chenek. But if he uproots an entire other mitzvah, like no Shabbos, no kosher, no nothing, so then he gets chenek, according to everybody. Not skil. Even the Chacham would agree he gets chenek. If he uproots only part of a mitzvah, he doesn't get any punishment. What?
Well, can't we say also the first of the Ten Commandments is a positive mitzvah against Avodah Zarah?
It's not against Avodah Zarah. It's a believing in God. No,
Yeah, right. So not believing
it's nothing to Avodah Zarah. Liyeh lochol elokim acherim is Avodah Zarah. Anei Hashem lekecha is a mitzvah to believe in Hashem. It's not positive of Avodah Zarah. It's a mitzvah to believe in Hashem.
And therefore not to believe in anything.
Right. And B'chlal, it's a very interesting thing. Even that is difficult to understand. There's a machlokes in the Rishonim. If Anei Hashem lekecha is a mitzvah, many Rishonim don't count Anei Hashem lekecha as one of the 613 mitzvahs. Why? It's the number one. They say because what's the definition of a mitzvah? When you say a mitzvah, you're automatically saying there's a commander, and the commander is telling you to do a mitzvah. So when you hear the word mitzvah, there's already an assumption there's a commander. You can't have a mitzvah without a commander, right? So if there's a mitzvah to believe in God, you already are saying there's already a God who's commanding you to do. So how can you say there's a mitzvah to there's a commander telling you to believe there's a commander, but that you automatically have without even believing in the commander. You have to believe there's a commander who's telling you to do the mitzvah.
It's the foundation.
So because of that, a lot of poskim hold the Nech Hashem L'Kecha is not counted in 613. Those that hold it learn that the mitzvah Nech Hashem L'Kecha is not to believe in the existence of God. That's not a mitzvah. That this God is omnipotent and omnipresent and kol yochol and nimna nimnois. That this God is not that God exists. Many poskim say you can't count that as a mitzvah. Because by using the word mitzvah, you're already assuming there's a commander. So you can't have a mitzvah to believe there's a commander telling you a mitzvah that there's a commander. I mean, it's ridiculous. So even the mitzvah Nech Hashem L'Kecha, what?
God is for the offshoot of the first Hashem L'Kecha.
Chazal say, why did we hear the first two from Hashem directly? You had the top two we heard from Hashem. The Gemara says in Makis, at the end of Makis, Torah Tziva Lanu Moshe. Torah equals 611. Yeah? Tziva Lanu Moshe. Because the first two we heard, that's what the Gemara says in the end of Makis, because the first two we heard directly from Hashem. Yeah? Why did we hear those two from Hashem? So in Tanya, the Alter Rebbe, the Mefarshim say it also. Nech Hashem L'Kecha is the source of all positive mitzvahs. Lo Yiyah is the source of all negative commandments, and therefore that we have to hear directly from Hashem. The source of all positive and all source of all negative is Anech and Lo Yiyah. So that we have to hear from Hashem. But again, according to those Rishonim, the mitzvah is not to believe in the existence of God, because that you have to already have a base that there's a commander. Understand?
According to them, the mitzvah is to believe in the qualities of Hashem?
In the quality, whatever.
In His infinity.
Yeah.
In other words, if you don't believe in the existence of Hashem, Chas v'Shalom, all the positive mitzvahs are out the door.
Duh, yeah. Why does a person do a positive mitzvah? Not because he likes it. The positive mitzvah is because I love Hashem, I want to connect Hashem. But if I don't believe in God, what am I connecting to? All the negative mitzvahs is when I transgress actively, not passive. Remember we said, Loisas means you're actively transgressing, not like the not doing the positive mitzvah, which is passive. When you do a negative, you can be actively going against Hashem. So that means you're making other gods. Hashem says, don't eat chazer. I want to eat chazer. So when I eat chazer, I'm making chazer a god. So of course it's the source of... you don't believe in the Nech and L'Yiyah. No?
That's the basis.
That's the basis.
So if the first two are not part of the Ten Commandments, what are the Ten Commandments?
They are. They're the essence of the Ten Commandments.
So you just said, how could you...
No, therefore those two we heard directly from Hashem.
But if you don't count it as a command, saying, okay, you don't count it as a command.
Huh?
You don't count Anechi.
You don't count Anechi that the Hashem exists as this is what it's a machlokes in Rishonim. You don't count it as a mitzvah that Hashem exists, because that you can't make a mitzvah out of, because that's automatically the prerequisite is that there's a commander telling us.
God forbid, somebody, God forbid, doesn't believe in Hashem, and he does a positive mitzvah.
No.
It doesn't mean anything.
Because a Jew is maminim. I told you, maminim b'nei maminim. I told you, and the guy came to the Rebbe and said, I don't believe in God. The Rebbe said, the fact that you say, the fact that you say you don't believe in God doesn't take away from the reality that you do. The Gemara says every Jew is maminim b'nei maminim. The Jew says, when I told the story recently, a guy came over to a rabbi and says, by the way, you believe in God? Because a lot of rabbis I spoke to told me no. There was a guy in Northern California, his kids are in shlichus all over the place, but there was the guy, Jed Landis, with a Baal Tshuva of Chabad. He had a very sharp mouth. So how did he become frum? He went around to a bunch of Reform rabbis, and he would have to be very, his language was, not language I would say on tape, but he said, would go over to Rabbi, he would speak, the way it is. He said, don't give me any BS, other words like that. You believe in God or not? Yes or no, don't dray a cup. So he said, most of them said no. Most of them said no. You want to know the truth? No, I don't believe in God. He bumped into Chabadnik, I don't know what it was. And he said, you tell me you didn't know, but you believe in God? He says, what's the question? So that got him going, he became a mamash Baal Tshuva, a very choshev Baal Tshuva. But the truth is, every Jew, the Gemara says, Mamina b'nei Mamina, every Jew believes. Even when he says he doesn't. Okay, let's just start the next piece of Gemara. Okay, so Rav Chisda held that when is a machlekes Reb Shimon and Chachamim, if it's skila or chenek, that's only by Avodah Zarah when he uproots part of it or all of it. All other mitzvahs, he only gets chenek if he uproots all of the mitzvah. Part of the mitzvah, he gets nothing. Rav Amnuna says no. Rav Amnuna argues. He didn't accept Rav Chisda's answer. And he said, machlekes beikar aguf. The machlekes is when somebody, the Navi, uproots the whole mitzvah, whether it's Avodah Zarah or any other mitzvah. The machlekes is even if you uproot Shabbos, let's say, is the machlekes Reb Shimon, or kiyam mitzvahs a bit of mitzvah Avodas Chavim, because over there the chamsa min haderech afil mitzvahs haderech. So in other words, Rav Amnuna holds like this. Not like Rav Chisda held that if a guy uproots Shabbos, he only gets chenek according to all opinions. Rav Amnuna says no. The machlekes Reb Shimon and the Chachamim skila or chenek is any time a Navi uproots any full mitzvah. By Avodah Zarah, it's even part of the mitzvah. But kiyam mitzvahs, ubitul mitzvahs, sham mitzvahs, but again, by all other mitzvahs, part of part no, divrei kol patur. Okay.